Hello, hello, hello everybody. I hope you're all doing well. And I'm so pleased to be part of this fundraiser, and it's an extremely worthy cause. I did work as an advocate for a bit in the shelter, so I'm very well aware of the needs there. And I'm just going to be talking about some of the traumas that we can all face. It's not all going to be about that. I'm going to include some of my poetry and some of my own journey. Hi, Melissa. Hi, Hill. How are you, honey? It's so good to see you guys. And again, I'm honored to be part of this. So I am Sherri. And so I'm a yoga teacher and Reiki master, and I'm also a writer. And so I'm just going to share with you guys. It's pretty heartfelt. I've heard that we are healed when we can tell our own stories without crying, but I'm not really sure if that's really the case, because healing to me is a continual journey. We heal one layer and then another layer is there, and so to me it's a continual process. And so just be patient, with your own healing and your own journey, and just remember, to love yourself and that you're enough. All of us are always enough. We are all divine beings, and we all are deserving and worthy. So I'm just going to start by reading an excerpt from a book that I'm writing. I hope the audio is okay. All right, so this is an excerpt from a book that is in progress now, and it has a ridiculously long title. It is called Looks Can Be Deceiving, Lessons Learned in Life, a non-linear account of epic profundity in the profane and mundane. So this is copyrighted and all rights reserved, but I'm going to just go ahead and start with this piece here. And of course the point is that I hope that it helps someone. And this is a photo of me, and that's part of the story. It's just kind of like a part of the story here. At the time of this photo in 2014, I was 48 years old and working in a domestic violence shelter. I was drawn to the job as a way to serve and make ends meet, as I had 2 hungry preteen boys living with me and was working 3 other part-time jobs. What I didn't fully understand at the time is that Spirit led me there for crucial learning and healing as part of my spiritual journey and life path. As these safe houses are grossly underfunded, the pay was low and the duties were numerous. I was the only one working during most of my shift, which meant I walked the halls and checked the windows and doors, monitored the security video, answered the shelter door, phone, and the hotline. I helped the residents with meals, completed intakes, monitored the shelter's assignment list, conversed with the residents, and connected them with community agencies, and documented everything, every little thing. Talk about multitasking. The women I worked with at the facility were amazingly dedicated, worked appallingly long hours, and still showed up smiling. One of my coworkers continued to work there despite making half what she'd earned as a social worker. And social workers are grossly underpaid as well. Bright-eyed, she showed up day after day, was on call 24/7, helping protect these women and children and giving them a place to be long enough to regroup, refocus, relocate, whatever they needed. She and other advocates helped connect them with job opportunities, apply for public housing, for financial assistance, counseling services, legal assistance, find medical care, child care, the works. You name it, these amazing women did it. What I learned from working there is that it takes a lot to do this kind of service. Not having a background specifically in social work, but just in behavioral sciences and education was not enough to protect me from the vicarious trauma, a term I learned shortly after starting work there. Before long, the resident stories and situations became too much sorrow to witness. It was hard for me to admit and hard for me to recognize that I was becoming energetically and emotionally depleted. It was at this time that I also realized that I'm an empath and that as such I could not hear their stories without absorbing them. Every story I felt, every tear I shed too, every broken heart split mine into a little more each time. Yet I was drawn to keep doing the work, driven to help any way I could, propelled by the beautiful hearts, beautiful souls, beautiful babes on their laps. Saying it takes a lot to do this kind of work is a gross understatement. Just as saying these workers are underpaid and overworked is a gross understatement. I find it challenging to find the words to do it and them justice. These amazing workers are modern-day heroes. They keep showing up day after day, earning below poverty level wages themselves, putting in 60 hours a week during a good week. And why? The answer is this: because the residents there get better. Because the residents there find new jobs, new homes, new lives. Because the residents there smile again. They find themselves once again, once they're given a chance to breathe, once they're provided a safe harbor to dock, even for a few weeks' time. These women are amazing, all of them. The residents in their strength, their courage, the advocates with their empathy and endurance. I'm proud to have known each and every one of them, and each and every one of them has become part of me now, holding a place in my heart forever. And I'm glad God led me there to learn and to help in my own small way at that time. Because though the situations broke my heart every day, their progress and strength were beautiful to behold. Sorry, I lost my place. Beaming with promise, hope, optimism, regard, regained confidence, these women and children showed who they really are, showed themselves what they can do, that their lives can be good again. Their stories, however, also triggered my own traumas and experiences I thought I had healed completely. My own stories I kept to myself, but I'm so grateful they were opened again to me. I could clearly see my inner wounds and knew what I needed to address as the next step in my own healing, in my own journey. There were places of unforgiveness and fear, painful memories that were brought clearly in front of my eyes again, just as if watching them happen on a giant screen in HD. They were screaming to be recognized and nurtured back to wholeness. These holes in my soul, these wounds I had covered with gauze and never looked at again. It doesn't work that way, healing. Our wounds need cleansing, airing, and soothing. They need light and kisses and ointment. It is possible to heal yourself by healing others. It is possible to help yourself by helping others. This I firmly believe. But in hindsight, I now know it is critically important to arm yourself with the proper tools necessary to do the job completely, thoroughly, absolutely. My takeaways are these. There is always hope. People rebuild and reinvent themselves all the time. I saw that on a daily basis. If you know a social worker or advocate, give them a pat on the back. Tell them thank you. Take them out to lunch if they have time. If you are in a position to donate, do so. Love always wins. Violence is never the solution for anything, globally too. People are resilient. The human spirit is indomitable. As with all my excerpts, I invite you to take a look again at the woman in the picture. She may appear calm and peaceful, with no inner secrets, no turmoil. Well, I refer you once more to my book title, Looks Can Be Deceiving. So, I thought that it would be good to start with that one because until these shelters aren't needed anymore, they unfortunately still are. And they, again, are grossly underfunded. And these women should be praised. All the workers should be praised and, supported in any way we can. And so again, I am just absolutely thrilled to be part of this. I'm just checking my time here. Excuse me. All right. The next one I have is called As a Survivor Myself. And so I wrote this in 2016. And this is on my Facebook page, Sherri Writer. And this is it. No one should have to live through this. Some don't. Those who do are left with the scars, both visible and unseen. As a domestic violence survivor myself and a former advocate at a women's shelter, I can tell you the unbelievable damage it can cause. As one who has survived it, I feel I have a responsibility to help other women. I disclosed my DV survivor status publicly on the steps of the Rome City Auditorium at a peace rally more than a year ago. I spoke these words into a microphone, my hands, I hoped not visibly, shaking for the first time on Broad Street in broad daylight. I told only one person just after it happened, and only because he lived far away, only because I knew he would not judge me. I stayed in denial. It had been 2 years later that I finally told my family. But that day, I stood on the steps and said it out loud and magnified out loud to everyone. I was pleased and yet sickened. These words had just escaped my lips and were hanging in the air above Broad Street in broad daylight. There was quite the backstory behind the 4 words I'd spoken, though the crowd would never have known. They didn't know I hadn't said them hundreds of times before. They didn't know my dirty laundry was airing above Broad Street in broad daylight, slung over the power lines too impossibly high for me to jump up and grab into hiding. Stuffed back into the dresser drawers, all neat and compact, just the way society likes it. Even the bare-nippled, tarnished Capitoline wools atop the steps behind me seemed uncomfortable. Still, I said them. I sent them flying through the ethers, apparently of my own volition. I still wasn't quite sure I should say them, even after I had said them. The blasé manner in which I spoke in the phrase, in passing, would alert no one to the extent that I was shocking myself by actually saying it. Carefully subordinated in a sentence to minimize its emphasis as a survivor myself. I then led a loving kindness meditation with a small crowd assembled there, and we all prayed for peaceful hearts peaceful hearts lead to peaceful minds. Non-violence starts in the heart, in the brain. It starts within each and every one of us. The only way to promote peace is to cultivate it in your own heart first, and then to help others realize it too. This is why I teach yoga. This is why I teach my boys love and peace over any other pursuit or goal. The fact that they are loved, not in spite of who they are, but because of who they are, I hope will make the difference. All the difference in the world. It just might be the most important thing to leave with our children, the knowledge that they are loved, and strategies for how to be loving, how to love and be loved. Okay, so that was the second piece. And again, you know, I'm sharing this in hopes of helping others, because it's so important for people to know that, you know, they're not alone. It can happen to anyone, and so there's so much shame around it. So much shame around it, and people, you know, it's a normal reaction to that we have in our society. Is it logical, and is it healthy? No. But that's part of the culture. It's part of the societal impact that it has on us. And you know, and it doesn't just affect women, but there are women at the shelter, and so and my experiences have been, you know, as a woman experiencing this. So I'm speaking from that, but yes, it's not all women, you know, who are victims, survivors, excuse me, who have experienced this. I avoid that word, the victim. So, but we all, yoga, as I mentioned, yoga, and that one, yoga was part of my healing journey, and it still is. So yoga is really what changed my life for the better, and that was, it's not a fix-all for everybody. Everybody has their own healing journey, you know, and their own path and their own preferences, but it definitely was beneficial for me and still is. So I have taught classes in trauma-informed yoga. So it's just, you know, yoga with gentler cues and you know, and we all have these inner child wounds, you know, that we, even those who have not experienced abuse, have inner child wounds that need healing, because as a child, just absolutely anything can sound, you know, horrifying when you're hearing it as a 3, 4, 5-year-old. And the thing is that our perception of that, oh, I must be bad, I must not be good enough, there's something wrong with me, I'm inherently flawed, that, you know, is in the subconscious, because our brains are sponges, and they're in that brainwave state of accepting and absorbing and everything as truth. So what we have seen through the lens of a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old or a 3-year-old, you know, it's in our lizard brain, and we react with these emotions that, you know, are before logical thought, you know, can take place. And so there are ways to heal it, but especially it's effective if you can go into that same brainwave state and sort of reprogram that area of the brain within that same state. And so this is why energetics work well. I'm a Reiki master as well. Sound healing works well. Of course, yoga, anything that clears the stuff from the body, because these energies get stored in the body, and so moving them out, you know, helps. And, you know, subliminals are very helpful, because and they're not all, you know, rated the same, but because they do address the issues there, our misperceptions, our illusions that we're not good enough. And that's basically what it boils down to. Different variants of that, those can be addressed at that particular brain wave level. So anyway, the effects of trauma are incredibly negative because they have cumulative effects on the body, or they affect our decision making. And so PTSD, and it creates this trauma response, fight or flight response that you may have heard about, stress responses, which increases adrenaline, cortisol, raises the blood pressure. It's just all these biological responses in the body that are harmful, especially over time. So anything that we can do to decrease that is excellent. And a very simple thing that you can do at any time, if you're ever feeling stressed, we all get stressed, about certain things. And so one thing, very simple breathing trick, is you can breathe in and just make your exhalation longer than your inhalation. And that tells your body, hey, I'm safe. And then it will lower your heart rate and blood pressure immediately. So that's just a quick thing that you can do. And it doesn't require a lot of attention or time taken out. Just make sure that exhalation is longer, because it does make biological response, chemical change in the body, for your benefit, and allows us to be, so that we can, because being in that state, in that stress state, affects our healing, kind of blocks, our healing, our own ability to heal our own bodies. Okay, so I also offer a chakra healing course. If you're interested in that, you can check this all of it's online. So you can check that out at Sherri's Yoga and Reiki. And we take one chakra at a time each week. But clearing that will help too. That can help you to feel better. So there's something called emotional bypassing. And it's basically skipping a step in our healing where we say, okay, I'm fine, I'm thinking positively, I've done my forgiveness, and so I'm moving forward. But sometimes it bypasses. We actually skip the step of processing and sitting with the negative emotions, because we think it's all, rainbows and unicorns or whatever. And I try to be positive, but I try to put out those messages as well. But it's really, really important that we address it. We don't want to sit in it, for a long time, because that's not beneficial or healthy either. But yeah, processing it, addressing it, feeling it, recognizing it, allowing yourself, giving yourself permission to feel it, whether it's anger or sadness or grief or whatever, and just let yourself process it, let yourself be with it, and give yourself permission to feel it. And again, you don't have to sit in it, you can release it after. So during my own journey, we all go through, I think, dark nights of the soul. It is really important to be able to, again, address those emotions and for people to know, hey, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one who has ever felt this way. And so, having said that, I'm going to read this next poem. This next piece, which is a poem, and it's called Beneath the Surface. We all suffer losses, again, so it's important to give ourselves permission and time to grieve it. Beneath the surface, you're so small. I pull the muscles tight. Still you fight. I pull tighter. You're on the outside, blown about by forces of nature. You seek refuge here where there is no light. Don't you get it, little grain? Don't you understand the pain you will cause, you will face? Still you keep coming, unaware of your fate. I'll swallow you whole, you know. I'll push you to the side, shellac you so your rough edges are smooth, presentable, palatable, and comfortable. It will take a while, yes, but there will be no rush once you're here. Once inside, there will be no escape. I try to warn you. It's warm, yes, and quiet, but it's dark and dank. I admit, little grain, you tempt me. Though I will be in pain, you'll amuse me for a while. Give me something to do. Keep me busy with something new. The irritation will be welcome. It's been so long since I've opened, I'm not sure the effort won't kill me. I just narrowly missed the fisherman's net from above. I can still see a shadow. The sun is setting low. The days are getting shorter, the nights longer, darker, colder. And what will the great diver find in me? A salty, wet morsel sliding down his throat in an instant? Or a perfect shining jewel for his lady to admire, to keep her smiling, remembering wistfully the man who thought enough of her to set it on a pedestal of gold and place it on her finger. It's a beautiful dream, little grain of sand. But what a sacrifice you'd be making. Aren't you happy enough being small and rough and free? Why on earth do you want inside me? I doubt you. I question your sanity. You will be smothered, buried beneath layers of protectiveness, coats of defensiveness. You'll be unrecognized, hidden away from all else. No one will see you. None will find you under that glossy, hardened surface. Its iridescence will blind them to you. You insinuate yourself into my world. Please go away and let me stay an ugly, heavy shell on the ocean floor, alone in stony misery. There are so many shells that will gladly open for you. Hungry shells, beautiful shells, younger and finer, sweeter than what you'll find in here. They're so much more deserving of your attentions. Why plant your seed here in this morbid human tomb? I'd rather see you happily consumed by another than trapped with me here in this hell. Please go find another better shell. Oh, but the pain is getting stronger. Oh, please keep trying a bit longer, my dear little grain, until I've gone to sleep. I can't bear to watch you drift away just yet from me, little grain of hope. And so that is one of my unpublished ones. And again, it's just important that we give ourselves permission to feel these things and to know, that you're not alone and that we all suffer losses and we, it's okay to deal with that, grief and recognize it. But forgiveness is crucial. Forgiveness is crucial, not for anyone else except yourself. Because forgiveness does not condone anything that has happened. It only frees you from that burden. It only frees you from feeling that burden. So, healing is possible. And as I said, tomorrow, yoga has been a very big part of my healing journey and part of my spiritual. I've been teaching for, I guess, 15 years. Longer. Okay, I'm not going to add and do the math here. But anyway, it's been a part of my journey and been very beneficial for me. So this next poem that I'm going to share is kind of ties all that together. But because I had an injury from my experience with DV, I had an injury that I was recovering from, and my injury was in my left arm. So this particular poem and my yoga practice was, very important to me, and so this particular poem is really powerful to me because it was a poignant moment for me. So this is called Heart Opener. 3 years ago, I couldn't speak the truth. Now I say it out loud, right and clear for all to hear. 3 years ago, I couldn't forgive you. Now I let that hatred go, free and real for me to heal. 3 years ago, I couldn't move my arm. Now I can hold a side plank, steady and strong for 5 minutes. I open my heart to the sky and revel in my strength, my own power. And so, again, I was just doing my yoga practice, and I just noticed, wow, how long did I hold that? My arm is healing, and again, it was just a very powerful moment of recognition and a victory on my path. Not in an egoic sense, like, look at me, look what I can do. Not in a way of performing, but it was a personal victory. Noticing that how much evolution had happened and how much healing had happened for me. So, again, the healing is about, physical healing, mental healing, spiritual healing, emotional healing. And so there was a point when I looked over in my apartment and saw my guitar sitting in the corner, just kind of dusty and ignored and neglected. And so I wrote this next poem about that. I'm just checking the time there. My beautiful guitar. All you needed were some strings to remember who you are. New tuning pegs to guide you to your destiny. In the corner, you sat, dull and lifeless and ugly. And now you're sparkly and shiny and new. Now you can do what you're meant to do. I'm sorry for my neglect, relegating you to the corner, standing in the way of your happiness, for my own selfishness, seeing you as a thing of the past, a relic for my own memories, a sounding board for my own hollowness, reflection of me living in the past, memories caught, trapped in those dead, loose, dull strings. And now they're taut, ready to play. And now you're you again, ready for today. I wanted to hug the guy at the music store, restoring your worth. Now play with me as I restore mine. And so again, that was just a poignant moment that I had, of realization. And I really did take that guitar. I realized that, it was just sitting there, not being used, not being enjoyed, not being its full potential. And so when I did take it, I realized that it, it was the way that we do ourselves. We can do ourselves the same way. We can forget to take care of ourselves. We can forget to give ourselves permission to get new strings, or whatever. But I just thought about that in my own journey, and I'm a poet too, so I think in metaphor, and so it's just, the guitar was just a perfect symbol for me of restoring worth, remembering self-worth, and that we're all here to do something. We're all here, we all serve a purpose, we all have gifts, and we all deserve to be happy. And so it's about self-worth. We're all worthy, we're all valuable, we're all deserving, we're all gifted. We have gifts, and maybe you think, oh, I don't have a gift. Yes, you do. You may not play an instrument, you may not be musical, you may not paint, you may not whatever, but you have a gift. If it's negotiating or communicating, listening to people, talking to people, cooking, dancing, it can be anything. It can be anything. Anything. Everything that we do is creative. And so allowing yourself to do what it is that brings you joy, is, about that. And so it's all about your mission. I think we all have missions and purpose, and I know that we all have gifts. And so I just hope that you give yourself permission to connect to that, and remember that you're worthy and valuable. And then there's something that we all go through, I think, called imposter syndrome, where we think, oh, what am I doing here? And how did I get this job? How did I end up here? How did I, and then we get these feelings of who do I think I am? What am I doing here? But that's called imposter syndrome, and so that's from the feeling of not enough. And so a lot of us have those childhood wounds that come up like that, because we have just simply misperceived the behavior of others toward us as an interpretation of our own value and our worth. And so much of that is not true. So much of that is not true. And so we just have to give ourselves permission to do that, and to move into whatever brings us joy and bliss, so that we can relax enough to remember our own worth, and that we don't have to be perfect, and none of us is perfect. And it's okay to be flawed, quote flawed, but that's an illusion. That's not even true either. We aren't flawed. So we are, all different. And that is a miracle. So this perfectionism, though, extends, to our entire culture, our entire society. And, I think about the magazines and the standards of beauty, that are so ridiculous, because you're so much more than the container that you're in. We all are. So, those are not important, yet we have been told that. We have been conditioned to believe that our lives, our entire lives. So this next poem is called Sell Me Something, and it is expressing that same thing. This is from 2018. Sell me something to keep my papers in. Now sell me something to shred them. Give me fudge, iced, yeast-filled treats. Now sell me scales to weigh me down. Pump me full of latte to get me going early. Then feed me herbs to bring me down late. Cover my face in porcelain goo, smoothing out my flaws. Then peddle your books to build my self-esteem. Recount all my sins for public display. Then tell me I'm forgiven and send me on my way. Tell me you love me and then deny. Sell me some hope and watch me cry. So again, that's, about the commercialism, advertisements, the way these ridiculous standards and they benefit from that. There's an entire industry built on people not feeling good enough, and it's ridiculous to me, and I just feel like it's just really something we have to heal in our society. Okay, now I'm going to shift into a lighter space, because I believe that once we all have self-love, once we all know that we're all worthy, and can embrace that and love ourselves, then we are able to love others. And I just know that this extends globally, and that it will help us to get rid of these false divisions and illusions of separation, because it is my firm belief that we are all connected, and we are all one, and we are all equal, and we are all divine beings, and we all have the same value and the same worth, and that we're all here for a reason. So I firmly believe that when we heal ourselves, then we can heal the planet and the world, and we can move into more awareness of unity consciousness, like we're all one, and that we're all in this together. We all have, individual journeys, individual paths, but we're all taking this journey. We're all taking this journey, and that we have in common. So these next poems are a lot lighter, and these were published in Bangladesh in a literary journal called the 13th Alphabet in fall 2018. So just notifying you, of the original publication date. All right, so this is a 3-part poem. These are, again, much lighter. This is called Zenith. Now, this is a 3-part poem. Zenith, definition 1, 2, and 3. So this is Zenith, definition 1, the point in the sky directly above the observer. From the stars came we, zooming from zeniths, comets of consciousness and breath sent to breathe life here. From the depths we came, from the earth and core, molten minerals smelted into solidity, magnetic miracles of clay and mud, embodiments of ferns and caves and underground lakes, machinations of must and musk. We are novas, supernovas, yes, and even the blackest of black holes, all drawing all into darkness, shining out again in shimmering substance, manifestation of matter, of time, but time doesn't matter. Expanse of space, we are that, you and I. telescoping upward and outward toward infinity. As the edges of our universe disappear, atoms too far apart to discern any matter. And what does it matter? And why does it matter? We are one with the soul of God, the universe. God is love, and we are that. A masterpiece tempered at 98.6 degrees, a fever and frenzy of love and light, of mind, soul, and body. Mirrors of Saturn and Jupiter and Pluto, reflections of stars, dwarfed and giant. As big as the sun, and yes, as bright and dark, as the deepest velvet, a study in contrasts. Embrace it all. Love it all, the dark, the light. A fiery field of fury and fancy, a detail of love under observation. A quantum tooth in the cog of the wheel of the universe. A mechanical manifestation of Godlight, of Christ consciousness, of Buddha heart. Grains of sand on the beaches of the universe. Alone we are tiny, but together we are mighty. Dunes of protection from raging seas. Each one needed, each one integral to the whole. You are love, we are one. You matter, we matter. And here's Xena, definition 2. The highest point of a celestial body. Upon her ascension, Gaia asks us to feel and vibe with her. We create and coexist in her mountains and valleys, in her forests and on her beaches, meadows and lakes. Aquarian energies assist us as we rise to her occasion and feel her gentle and strong quakes, swim in her tears, and learn to float in them. We are here to rise with her. We ascend with her levels through divine connection, sensing the network of roots beneath her surface, the common taproot of us all, from which we are all nourished. We are her and we are one another. Yes, to reach the zenith, we must go deep to feel our oneness. And through descension, we are lifted, ascending as one, drawing prana through our individual and collective roots, raising our vibrations, and as ascension moves through us, recalibrating our carbon into crystalline vision of ourselves, of our worlds. Through our divine sight, we lift our celestial bodies to the ethers, remembering who we are, reaching the zenith of unity consciousness. And the last is called Zenith, definition 3, the highest point or peak. By providence divine, the bard reminds, I find my zenith doth depend upon a most auspicious star. High point in iambic tetrameter. What is our zenith we strive to reach? What is our worth and how do we live it? Through miracles and memories of joys and tempests, of accolades and degrees, measured and marked with time as an indicator light of reality. The spark of our fueling, powered and revved to the nth gear, revolutions lulled into waves of waiting, rising in frenzies of fire and fervor. And what are its origins? In strands of double helix imprinting, in Akasha and Dharma, in bloodlines and ancestral urgings, as we burn them from our blueprints. Do we use it to purge and burn away the karma from the collective, from our soul groups, from our monads? Can we propel it through mantras, healing inauspicious alignments from our respective houses, discovering nakshatras and midpoints in K2 and ascendants? Do we dissect the chart to discern our purpose, revealing the meanings of hardships and struggles? Can we send Saturn backward to purge from our timelines the horrors of Holocaust and World War II? Do we use it to find just how high we can soar and who is destined to be part of our constellations? Can we remedy our placement with mantras, remembering our song, our kin, our energetic signatures, to reach the highest Mayan estrellas, peaks of purpose and past life connections to springboard to the summit of the collective soul? Can we reach our zeniths on our own, yet as one, in brilliant alignment, in harmony and with the highest vibrations, in 432 and 528 hertz, in one beautiful global summit song? Why, yes, we can. Yes, indeed, we can. So, that is the last of the poems that I'm sharing, and I really am so happy that you've joined us, and I hope, as I said, donate if you can to the shelter, because it's an incredibly worthy cause. And again, my heart breaks that it is even necessary, but as long as it's necessary, please support it, because it's an incredibly worthy cause and so much good happens there. I leave you with peace and love and light and healing, and I have a tip jar there as well if you would like to donate. And you can connect with me on my Facebook pages if you'd like to join online chakra healing course or online yoga classes or meditations, or just to connect with me and say hi. And I thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Namaste.